So then I was like, computer? I hardly know her. Oh, hello everyone. This is Adam's Tech Channel, and of course, I am Adam. And today, we're building me a brand new computer. Alright, so before we get into the specs of the computer, I just want to say, sorry for the weird set. I'm in a basement. So I'm going to try to record between the furnace and the hot water heater, but if there's weird background noise, that's probably what it is. Alright, so now let's jump into the specs of this. And I am so excited to share the parts that I was able to get for this build. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with the motherboard. We got the MSI X570 Tomahawk with Wi-Fi. For RAM, we have 32 gigabytes 4x8 of Crucial Ballistics RGB RAM at 3600 speed CL16. For storage, we have a Samsung 980 Pro NVMe PCIe Gen 4 drive, so this will get us some crazy speeds. For my power supply, I went way overkill. I got the Fantex Revolt X 1200 watt 80 plus platinum, so this should be able to handle whatever I throw at it. We're gonna build all this in the Lian Li 011 Dynamic, and I know, it's the case everyone and their mom is using, but I liked it, and you know what? Sue me. Wait, no, please don't. In that case, we're putting 9 Cooler Master Sickle Flow ARGB fans for lots of unicorn puke, because we want some frames. And now you may be wondering, hey Adam, you skipped 2 very important parts on a computer build. When are you gonna tell me what your CPU and GPU are? Folks, that's when this gets interesting. For the GPU, I was able to do something not many can do. And my 8 subscribers and other viewers of the channel will remember I was able to score an RTX 3080. This is an MSI Gaming X Trio RTX 3080, and I'm super excited to put it in this build. And now, for the part I'm most excited for. A part nobody can get their hands on. A part I worked very hard to get. Introducing the Ryzen 9 5900X. With 12 cores and 24 threads, a 3.7 base clock with a 4.8 boost clock, this chip can do a lot of stuff, and I cannot wait to start using it. But you may be asking, Adam, what are you going to use to cool this? And that's where the Arctic Freezer 34 Duo comes in. Wait. This tiny little tower cooler for a 5900X? That can't be right. Correct, Adam. That is not right. We're water cooling this PC. Let's go! This will be my first ever experience water cooling, and I am super excited to try it out, and I cannot wait to see the end product. We're even hard tubing on my first attempt, so we'll see how that goes. But today, we're just building an air-cooled PC because I want to test a few things before I set up the water cooling loop. Okay, it's time to build a PC! For this part of the video, I'm gonna try the one-handed technique. We'll see how that goes. So first, we're opening up the motherboard. Oh yeah, there she is. All right, we got the motherboard, SATA cables, Wi-Fi antenna, drivers and instructions. Who needs these? The best building surface for a computer, a motherboard box. We got the motherboard out, and let's grab the CPU. I've got my very adult-sized scissors to open this box. And there it is, the Ryzen 9 5900X. I feel like I've waited forever for this. Let's go ahead and open up the motherboard. And we pick up the CPU. Bottom left corner, bottom left corner. Oh boy, we putting the CPU in, and there we go. Just like that, we've installed the Ryzen 9 5900X. Next is 4 sticks of RAM. 32 gigabytes of Crucial Ballistics RGB RAM. Let's put it in there. Open the latches. The latches down here, yes, there are. All right, and we just stick it in. If I can get it in. There we go. And we push down on one side at a time. Boom, one stick of RAM installed. And now you may be thinking, hey, Adam, isn't 32 gigabytes of RAM a bit overkill? And couldn't you just got 2 sticks of 16 gigabyte RAM? And to that I say, no. I wanted 4 sticks of RGB RAM, and I'm having 4 sticks of RGB RAM. Now, I'm building an all-out computer, so of course I had to go NVMe Gen 4. All right there. Let's take this off. Got the heatsink off. Looks like we already got a standoff in there. So we pick up the piece of extra gum, the NVMe SSD, and we stick it in the slot. Screwed that in. So we do a little peely peel, and we put it back on. And just like that, we have our Gen 4 NVMe SSD installed. And just to do testing today, I'm gonna install the Arctic Freezer 34 Duo on here, but just know, water cooling video is coming soon. So let's get started installing this cooler. First, we gotta remove these screws, so let's get started on that. Then we take these bad boys and screw them in to those 4 holes. So let's do that. Now that we got those standoffs in there, we take the thermal compound and you wanna put about the size of a grapefruit on there. So I'm gonna do that. All right, now I put the heatsink on there. Then finally, we tighten it down with these screws. I'm trying to apply even pressure on each side. Then you tighten it with a screwdriver. Now that the heat sink is on there, it's time to appreciate all my fans out there, like this one. I got my fans all attached and plugged into the 4-pin header, and it doesn't have to look pretty because this is just a temporary solution, but this computer is coming along. We're ready to mount it in the case. We're taking out the 011 Dynamic. There it is, Lian Li 011 Dynamic. Let's take it apart. We got the box of stuff back here. Let's see what goodies we get. Rectangular prism made of rubber, lots of screws, some literature, and cable ties. Let's get putting the motherboard into the case. Now, before I put the motherboard in, I'm gonna do something I don't see a lot of tech YouTubers do, but I think is quite helpful, especially in small cases. This isn't a small case, but it's still helpful. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug the modular CPU cables into the motherboard first, and then plug them into the power supply later, so that way you don't have to reach your hand up there and get them plugged in. There, now with 9 screws nice and tight, the motherboard is safe and secure. So what's next, you ask? I think I'm gonna do the power supply. Look, I know what you're thinking. 1200 watts, isn't that a lot for an RTX 3080 and a 5900X? And you would be correct, but better safe than sorry, right? I guess. I know people always say don't overspend on a power supply just to have the bigger number, but you know, I did that and I don't care, okay? I can do what I want. Which way is this supposed to go? Is there ventilation on the side panel? There is. Getting the power supply in there. Got the power supply all in there. Now let's take this part off and start plugging in modular cables. First up, 24-pin ATX. And it plugs into the motherboard on this side. Next we will do the 8+4-pin CPU that we pre-routed earlier. And now the 3 8-pin PCIe power cables. Finally, the SATA cable for my SSD. Bada bing, bada boom, that's all the modular cables we need. Okay, so now I'm gonna plug in the front panel connectors. We have USB 3.0, HD audio, and a USB-C port. That's all our front panel connectors. So let's move on to the fans. I will work on the cable management back here later, but now I'm gonna make the cable management worse by putting in the fans. Although I'm not water cooling it right now, I am gonna put in the radiators as well. I'll go over this again when I water cool it, but as far as radiators, you know what? I got way overkill. I got 2 360mm radiators. That should be way more than enough for the RTX 3080 and the Ryzen 9 5900X. So I'm gonna start by putting 3 fans in the bottom. Great thing about these fans is they never get bored of your content. I got 3 of the fans all wired up and ready to be plugged into the motherboard. I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 radiators and 6 more fans. I have finally finished putting all 9 fans in and both radiators in, and I have officially made a mess with the cable management. So I'm going to figure that out, then we'll plug our GPU in. Okay, I have it somewhat cable managed back here, and I have the power cables pre-routed. I think it's time for the GPU. This is the crown jewel of the build, an RTX 3080. Let's pop it in there. RTX 3080, going in. There we go. Now that I have the cable management mostly figured out and the GPU plugged in, there's really only one thing left to do, and that's to try to get it to post. I did think of one thing in the middle of building that I probably should have thought of earlier. I might need a BIOS update, but we'll see, so let's try to boot it. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth. Power supply on, and power button. That's not a good sign. Power supply was already on. Fascinating. How about that? It's loading up. We will see if we get any output. How about that? We posted! So now I have a keyboard, I'm going to try to get in the BIOS. Okay, cool. It's recognizing a 5900X with 32 gigabytes of RAM. Now that the computer posted, it's time to install Windows. And much like Windows wanted for a really long time, I have Windows right here in my pocket. The computer posted and we were able to boot into Windows. And now I'm gonna go make sure I have all the right drivers and everything and get all set up.
The next day.
Hello, it's the next day, and I own more than one shirt. Yesterday we got the computer to post and load up into Windows, but when I tried to load the XMP profile, it would not post. So we're gonna try to fix that today. First, we're gonna try a BIOS update. So I updated to the most recent BIOS, and based off my Googling, it seems like other people were having problem with Crucial 3600 CL16 memory, and they said updating to the latest BIOS helped them. So we'll see. Okay, the BIOS update worked. We have our Crucial memory running at 3600 megahertz. So I'm gonna move on to downloading and installing the drivers. I'll let you know when that's done. Okay, so that's it for this time. We finished building the air-cooled version, and it's downloading some games. We got all the drivers done, got everything set up, and it's working great. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you like this content and you want to support me. Remember to follow me on Twitch to watch me game with this, and check out the video on how I was able to get the 3080, and I will be making a video on how I got the 5900X very soon, so watch out for that. Tune in next time, and we'll water cool. All right, bye.